trying to compete for not a playoff berth, but probably the number 1 overall pick, you have to consider. I don't think they want to move Lauri Markkanen, but if the Golden State Warriors put in a Brandon Podziemski, and from what I'm told, 3 first-round picks, 3-4 unprotected pick swaps, 3-4 second-round picks.
Is that a name?
Kuminga's a name, but I think the Jazz, from everything I've been told, the Jazz are more focused on Brandon Podziemski and his inclusion in the deal, all the picks being in the deal. And I think from the Warriors' perspective, it's Podziemski, but then there's not all the picks. And if it's all the picks, then there's not going to be a Podziemski. And so this could be a back and forth, but both sides are kind of entrenched right now at where they're at, saying nothing is going to change. So only time will tell, but I think the Jazz are very comfortable with extending Lauri Markkanen, and at that point, you'll see more suitors potentially as well in him, not just teams that feel like, okay, we'll be able to re-sign him.
I just can't.
It's a struggle.
I can't get by the funny part of, so is Kuminga a name? Yes, Kuminga is a name. Is Podziemski a name? No, actually it's not. It's not, Shams. It's not a name. That's not someone's name. His name, and he's on their all-rookie team, is Brandon Podziemski.
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 He's been doing it.
Podziemski.
He's been doing it the whole year.
Yep.
Somebody call Shams and tell him what the guy's name is. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is I'm listening to this, and maybe it's because it's really early in the morning, Dibs. I don't know. But I'm driving across the bridge, and I'm like, BS.
BS.
This is all a bunch of BS. This is all a bunch of BS. I don't buy it. The shoulders went up. I'm like, hold on a second. Did you hear what he just said? In addition to Podziemski, when he starts going through the draft capital that he is suggesting that the Warriors would have to give up to get Markkanen, he goes, 3 or 4 unprotected first-round picks.
Yep.
And 3 or 4 first-round pick swaps.
Sounds about right.
And 3 or 4 second-round. What are you talking about?
He's talking about a big package.
What?
That's a damn good package.
What on earth are you talking about? You sound like a little kid telling you how he wrestled a dinosaur last night. What on earth are you saying? 12 picks? What are you talking about? No.
He's doing Danny's bidding is what he's doing.
Thank you.
He's doing Danny Ainge's bidding, and somebody's going whisper, hey, let's put this out there. We want 17 first-round picks. The Warriors will have to give up their pick through 2052.
What are we doing?
I mean,
what is this? And then secondarily, then as I started to think about it, I'm like, well, that just makes me laugh. What are you talking about? And then let's go to the next step. Why does Shams Charania,
thank you,
Shams Charania, why is he being apparently deployed to take America on this step-by-step journey through exactly what the Warriors are telling the Jazz and exactly what the Jazz are telling the Warriors, almost on the daily basis, where here's the update. Podziemski's name now has a D in it, and we're like, why is that a thing? Because let me tell you, that's not a thing. In other words, if the Jazz and the Warriors are calling Shams, and as he says, well, what I'm being told, what you're being told is what they want you to be told.
Of course.
When Mikal Bridges was traded, I didn't get a daily digest of exactly what the Knicks and the Nets were doing.
That thing came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. When DeJounte Murray went to the Pelicans, we did not get a daily Shams. Well, man, the Pelicans are doing this, and the Hawks, we didn't get that. And even when DeRozan went to the Kings, I'd argue we got about 6 hours of like, whoa, hey, something's cooking between the Kings and the Bulls. And then bang, it was done.
Even the Klay Thompson 6-team sign and trade, Dallas emerged late as a possible destination, but the diverse package that everybody got, the 6-team factor, nobody saw that coming, to your point. And so here we have one that it seems like they're laying out the breadcrumbs for all this, for it to go down in this fashion seems unlikely based on the way trades normally happen. I agree with you.
Well, again, if you are arguing in the NBA, and by the way, I can let everybody know this, you know this, we have heard in a number of areas that most insiders believe the Jazz are on a fishing expedition. And in this particular case, if you don't kind of get what that is or what I'm saying, it is that the Jazz are putting out the mere idea that Markkanen is available, even though he's not, in the curiosity to see if a team would do something as ridiculous as what Shams is suggesting. And if they would do it, well, then maybe we would trade Markkanen. Yes, if you will give us 27 draft picks, we'll give you Lauri Markkanen. But, obviously no one's going to do that. This is obviously ridiculous stuff. It doesn't even mesh with what Shams wrote yesterday. What he wrote yesterday was something that was much less on the picks, but the Warriors would have to give up all the young players.
Right.
They'd have to give up Podziemski and Podziemski and Moody and
Pajowski.
Yes, and Pajowski and Kai Minga and Kuminga and Kuiminga. They have to give them all up. And I don't even think, in this
Moses Modi, too.
Then he speaks an hour later and they're like, what about Kuminga? He's like, yeah, that's a name, but they don't really care about that.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't even want that. This whole thing, it smells. The whole thing to me just smells. I don't buy it.
It feels a lot like a telegraphed pass in football where the quarterback steps back and he stares down a receiver and he locks in on him. He stares him down, he stares him down, he stares him down, and he throws it anyway.
That's called a Jimmy now.
It's the Jimmy G. See ya.
The difference is Jimmy still overthrows it. But anyway,
usually it results in a pick, or you throw it into triple coverage and the ball's knocked down. Usually it doesn't result in a positive outcome for that team. And so you look at this, it does feel a little bit too on the nose. This is what the Jazz want. This is what the Warriors are countering. Shams, back and forth. It doesn't feel like this is going to culminate in an actual deal. I will say this, though, and you and I were running through this in the green room, the Knicks trade with Brooklyn, the Nets did get 3 players, 4 unprotected firsts, a pick swap, a top 4 protected pick via the Bucks, and a second-round pick.
Yeah, it's a lot of picks.
It's a lot of picks. It's a gigantic package for Bridges. Is Markkanen better? Maybe. Is he about the same? Would the Jazz want a similar kind of deal? I think so, and that maybe is the blueprint for what the Jazz are trying to get.
Here's the thing. Different teams are in different spots. If we go there for a second, I'd actually argue that maybe it was the Bridges trade that made the Jazz do this, because you'll agree with me on this. The arc of the Markkanen discussion has kind of been like 4 months ago. People were like, Markkanen, that might be a trade guy.
Yeah.
And then something happened about 2 months ago where people were like, they're not trading him. The Jazz are not trading Lauri Markkanen. Then the Bridges deal happened, and all of the sudden, the Jazz are like, might trade Markkanen. It's like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Of course you now want to put him back on the market because you were you fished 4 months ago. You didn't really find anything. Plus, it's too early. The playoffs are still just getting started. And then they unfold. And then the word comes out that you are going to extend Lauri Markkanen. And that's it. And everybody moves on to their Paul Georges and their whatever they're going to do. And then the Bridges trade happens. And Danny Ainge goes,
They got what?
Whoa, what? For Mikal Bridges? Lauri Markkanen's better than Mikal Bridges. Now, you could argue that, whatever. They're different players.
Sure.
But if he's looking at, well, wait a minute. Did you just tell me that they essentially got 5 first-rounders?
Right.
For Mikal Bridges? Boy, I wonder what the hell we could get for Lauri Markkanen. Hey, Bob, call Shams. Tell him that Lauri is potentially back on the market, but we still love him. We love him and we want to keep him, so, we don't have to get rid of him, but, stir that pot up again. See what happens. See if we can get 27 picks from the Warriors.
Might as well try. Might as well.
What are we doing?
My wife has about 10 framed Fish posters from the band Fish.
Oh.
And so she's had these forever.
Fish with a P.
Exactly, PH. And one day she went on the internet just to see what one of these might go for. And people will spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these posters. So much like the Utah Jazz, at that point, she's like, oh, I might as well post a couple of these. We're not putting them in the baby room. They're just sitting in the garage. So you throw one up there for $750 and you see what you might get in return. And that is I'm with you about Utah. You have a chance to sign him on August 6th. So between now and then, what are you doing with your Fish poster? It's just sitting in the garage. Markkanen's not playing. You're not going to sign him. You might as well throw them up on the internet and see what you might be able to get for them.
Here's the part I really hate.
I like the analogy.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I got one for you too.
I can't wait.
Try this one on for size.
I will.
And I don't like saying this because this is not how I want to feel about my favorite team, the Golden State Warriors. But Danny Ainge right now is a lion. And when a lion comes up, you ever watch that Animal Planet stuff? The lion comes up on the group of gazelles.
Oh, no.
What's the lion look for? What's the first thing that the lion looks for?
Because, Mike Dunleavy Jr.
Well,
I think I skipped ahead in the analogy.
Maybe. Right?
You're looking for the weakest gazelle.
There you go.
Sorry about that, Mike.
I'm looking for weakness. And do you believe that the rest of the NBA may well smell a broken leg with the Golden State Warriors if they truly are about to do what many of us advocate, but at the same time could be taken as a sign of weakness by the rest of the league, which is building around short-term, one last ride around a 36-year-old star. Danny Ainge is going to look at that and go,
That's some good gazelle there.
I smell weakness. We can take advantage of that because that is somebody who is acting out of emotion rather than acting out of intelligence. And again, many of us do advocate that because I don't know necessarily what the better option for the Warriors is. You know, you and I have talked about this a lot. I hear all the time from Warrior fans and in my own brain, these two things that really, they don't mesh. They don't mesh. And these two things are, I hear from a lot of Warriors fans, my God, I like Kuminga and Podziemski and Moody for that matter. And we like to be smart. And so don't dump the future. Oh, by the way, next thought, Steph Curry must retire a Warrior. I'm sorry. You gotta pick one.
Potentially.
It's not in ink.
Right.
But y'all can at least admit how those two things very well might not match up.
Yeah, especially if they don't, those young players don't do what Grandy was talking about, which is take a gigantic leap forward.
Gigantor leap, and they're all 21. They just got beer last year for the first time.
Kuminga took a big leap last year, so you're asking for a second big leap. You're asking for Podziemski, I think that's how you say it, to get, and he looks like he's getting better, but he would need to get a lot better. And Moody would actually have to play basketball and have a chance to get a lot better.
And fast.
Exactly.
Fast.
Well, all this would have to happen between now and February.
Correct.
Because I do think the trade deadline, if the Markkanen thing doesn't happen, I don't think that there's another target that they would go out there and try to mortgage the future for.
Not break the bank. Yeah, I agree with you.
So now you're going to probably stick and stay until February and hope that you're 30 and 23 at the break, and then you make a bold move and try to maybe make something happen at that point.
I think most Warrior fans, and we were just talking about this in here too, would almost rather and maybe the answer is just no from everybody, but instead of offering up 27 first-round picks, offer up one and attach it to Andrew Wiggins and see if you can go get something else that's on a much smaller scale. Does that move the needle? Probably not. You know what I mean? While you were gone last week, Larry came in and he was talking more about names like Kyle Kuzma and Lucas Alexander, director of sports, 95.7 The Game, keeps talking about Cam Johnson with the Brooklyn Nets. You can throw these names out there and they feel better, but would they feel better to Steph? You know what I mean? Like that, and that is the rub. When you really want to get down to why the Warriors are not in the best spot, is I do think they've got all these options on the table. And a lot of them just don't line up. Maybe this is actually the meaning of two timelines. You know, for a while it was like, one timeline and then it'll end and then the second. No, actually it's just two completely separate timelines. And they don't line up. And they don't even butt up against one another. The truth of the matter is, you know, Dave Matthews Band, the space between.
Nice.
There is probably space between the Steph Curry timeline and whatever the hell else you got going.
Well, there always is.
And I'm far from convinced that you even have anything else going. Like, in other words, okay, Pods, Moody, Kuminga, and all of your picks.
And TJD,
that leads to what in 3 years?
Yeah.
Championship contention? Or just like, I don't know, we got some pieces.
It might lead you to the optionality that you would need to go out and get a free agent. Because Joe Lacob is passionate about that and never being in the lottery, although they've been in the lottery once since he said that. If those four guys can be a part of your 8-man core and you can draft a couple and go out and get a couple of free agents, you can be good again, but you need to have a star or 6 really good players and a star in this modern NBA to go out there and be champion. The one thing that kind of gives you hope is it feels like there's more parity now than there used to be. You can be a 5 or a 6 seed and make it to the NBA Finals. You can be a okay team in the regular year and then make a run in the playoffs and kind of get it done.
Yep, I'm with you on that. That's a good point with regard to the parity.